Daron Acemoğlu, The Narrow Corridor, States, Societies, and the Fate of Liberty. In the book The Narrow Corridor, States, Societies, and the Fate of Liberty by Daron Acemoğlu, readers are taken on a journey that explores the balance between state and society in the pursuit of liberty. The key message of the book is that the path to liberty is a narrow corridor, requiring a delicate equilibrium between a strong centralized government and an empowered society. Throughout the book, various historical and modern examples are provided to demonstrate how the balance can shift and result in either despotism or lawlessness. The summary reveals the complex challenges faced by societies in maneuvering through this narrow corridor, and emphasizes the importance of maintaining this fragile harmony for sustained liberty.
The Epic of Gilgamesh and the Narrow Corridor to Liberty. The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the world's oldest texts, tells a tale of a powerful king, Gilgamesh, who ruled the city of Uruk with pride and tyranny. The people pleaded with the god Anu to save them, and he created a counterpart to Gilgamesh named Enkidu. Though at first successful in pushing back against the tyrannical king, the two eventually conspired together, leading to despotism. The key message of the epic is that the path to liberty is narrow and requires a balance between state and society. When society fails to mobilize, the result can be dire. Leviathan and the Narrow Corridor. A strong central government is necessary for a society to have any chance at liberty. Without it, societies may fall into violence and insecurity. However, not all Leviathans guarantee freedom. Despotic Leviathans dominate and subjugate society, while absent Leviathans have a weak or non-existent central state, leading to no liberty. The narrow corridor of liberty lies between these two extremes, where an ideal type of Leviathan exists, protecting the rights of citizens while also allowing for economic growth and innovation. Solon's Athenian Leviathan. In ancient Athens, conflicts between elites and society were growing, but when Solon became archon, he knew he needed to enact reforms that would satisfy both sides. Through a series of reforms and new laws, Solon forged an Athenian Leviathan, a state with the authority to enforce his new laws. Common citizens could now rely on courts to administer justice, and the same laws applied to everyone, elite or not. By implementing these reforms, Solon activated what the authors call the Red Queen effect, where society and the state remain in perfect balance. Under Solon, the newly mobilized citizenry was empowered to enact checks on the state, while the state gained the ability to control violence and resolve conflicts. With its new shackled Leviathan, Solon's Athens finally achieved liberty. The Cage of Norms. The cage of norms refers to a set of cultural traditions and practices that prevent certain societies from having a strong central government and experiencing economic prosperity. In some cases, this phenomenon is perpetuated by a lack of chiefs or elites in the society, making it impossible to establish a hierarchy of power. This is exemplified by the Tiv ethnic group in rural Nigeria, where British colonial ruler Lord Lugard attempted to impose his own chiefs on a society devoid of any. The emergence of a cult called Nyambua, which prevented the chiefs appointed by Lugard from exercising any authority, is a clear example of how the cage of norms can be a dominating force that keeps societies locked in with an absent Leviathan. The Imperfect Red Queen. The American Red Queen effect, which operates in favor of those with the loudest voices in politics, has had reverberating consequences on disadvantaged groups within society. The heavy shackles on the central state mean that the Leviathan isn't always able to provide effective solutions to problems like healthcare or infrastructure, resulting in a political system that doesn't always work for everyone. To get southern states on board with the state-building project, the Founding Fathers allowed for the continued practice of slavery, depriving an entire segment of the population of their liberties. This summary explores the consequences of the Imperfect Red Queen effect on the political and social landscape of the United States. The Despotic Leviathan and the Limits of Economic Growth. The Despotic Leviathan is a form of government that can instigate its own version of war. In China, Mao Zedong's rule of the Communist Party systematically used violence to eliminate opposition. The re-education through labor system, established to carry out Mao's plan to modernize the Chinese economy, was a textbook example of the despotic Leviathan. Under this type of government, economic growth can be achieved, but not liberty. The organizational structures, laws, public services, and education designed to foster economic activity are often present in despotic Leviathans, but their lack of trustworthiness and rampant corruption lead to insecure property rights, making investment and innovation a risky proposition. The despotic growth may lead to economic success for a time, but it is unsustainable in the long run. The cage of norms in the largest democracy. India, the largest democracy in the world by population, has a history of widespread participation in society. However, India's liberty has been impeded by the powerful cage of norms in the form of the caste system. This system divides the population into status groups that affect people's chances of getting certain jobs, their marriage prospects, and their ability to move up in the social hierarchy. The cage of norms misallocates jobs, impedes innovation, and creates a fragmented society that's unable to collectively push for reforms. This system, which originated in ancient India, stands as a major obstacle to economic prosperity. The cage of norms prevents Leviathans from working properly and is a paralyzing force that restricts people into certain professions, wasting an enormous amount of talent. Unlike in Saudi Arabia, where the cage of norms is encoded into law through the Islamic faith, in India, the cage of norms impedes the Red Queen effect. The problem of paper Leviathans. Leticia from Argentina is a single example of thousands of individuals who have tried, unsuccessfully, to sign up for Nuestras Familias, a government welfare program. The Argentinian state and society is weak and inefficient, lacking routine and often unable to regulate the economy or enforce laws. Named a paper Leviathan by the authors, this type of government combines a weak state with a weak society, where institutions may look legitimate and modern, but functionally can't enforce laws or regulations. Paper Leviathans are common throughout Latin America and Africa due to the legacy of European colonization, where local elites were used to rule colonies, and only a few administrators were appointed, resulting in little input from society on how the institutions should function. This creates a disempowered society and weak state that can't maintain public order, making paper Leviathans unable to enforce laws or regulations. Though elites control the state, they rarely turn into despotic Leviathans as they aren't worried about their power becoming endangered if they don't engage in overt despotism. South Africa's journey through the corridor of democracy. South Africa's transformation from an apartheid regime to a democracy is a prime example of how societies can move through the corridor of liberty and democracy. By forming coalitions, South Africa's black middle class, industrialists, and leaders in the African National Congress opposed the anti-black elites, dismantled the oppressive regime and began taking steps toward liberty. The path to the corridor depends on the society's status, with a despotic Leviathan requiring mobilization or strengthening of the society. On the other hand, an absent Leviathan needs a strengthened state to provide services, while in a paper Leviathan, both must be strengthened simultaneously. The corridor's shape can change, making it either wider or narrower and more difficult to enter, depending on various factors like labor coercion that empowers elites and disempowers the poor. Germany's descent into despotism. The rise of the Nazi Party in Germany from a fringe movement to a despotic Leviathan was due to the polarization between elites and society, which disrupted the Red Queen effect and caused a loss of liberty. Germany's democracy, the Weimar Republic, was defined by an active and mobilized population, but elites felt threatened by the rise of left-wing Marxist groups and desired a return to a more authoritarian state. Feeling threatened, elites threw their support behind the Nazis, who rose to power as the Red Queen effect became a zero-sum game. Polarization increased between elites and non-elites, as well as between left-wing parties, and citizens began separating themselves into highly insular political and religious communities. With no liberal-minded leaders to unite the factions, the Nazis seized power and created a despotic Leviathan. The rise of the Nazis serves as a cautionary tale that democracy and liberty are never truly safe.
In conclusion, the summary of The Narrow Corridor beautifully encapsulates the intricate dynamics between states and societies in pursuit of liberty. It highlights the importance of the Red Queen effect, wherein a balanced coexistence between state and society creates the necessary conditions for liberty and economic prosperity. The summary also explores the role of cultural practices, traditions, and polarization in influencing the state of liberty within a society. By examining various historical examples, the summary provides valuable insights into how societies have stumbled upon or strayed from the narrow corridor. Ultimately, the book serves as an eye-opening exploration of the delicate balance between state power and societal will that is crucial to the preservation of liberty.